Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another update from my Wonder Valley project here in Planet Coaster 2. I just want to start by saying a huge thank you to everybody who watched episode 1, who liked the video, who shared it, and most importantly to all you guys who dropped a comment. I had some amazing bits of feedback, things I'd not really considered or thought about, and yeah, at the end of the day, I want to make this the best pack possible, and your incredible comments and suggestions are certainly going to be part of that, so please keep that coming. If you've not watched episode 1, I highly recommend that you go back and check it out. I will drop a link here. I do want to apologise for how ill I sounded in that first episode. I had a really bad chest infection. I must be the only person in the UK that managed to catch flu during the heat wave. But yeah, I'm better now, and yeah, this episode shouldn't be as torturous. So as a bit of a recap, Wonder Valley is my UK theme park project set on a large country estate. It is heavily inspired by Old Towers as well as a few other UK theme parks. It's going to have quite a high degree of theming and detailing, so think along the lines of what Paultons are doing at the minute. I kind of want to replicate that here. And it's also got touches of parks from mainland Europe as well, so the likes of Gardaland and Efteling. So without any more waffle, let's get straight to it. Right, so we are a week on from the release of the Parades DLC, and I want to say again what a top tier 10 out of 10 pack this is from Frontier. The scenery items are so versatile. I've got 1,000,001 ideas for how I kind of want to use them throughout this park. The new rides we've got are a fantastic addition, and yeah, even though I've not had much time to play around with the parade floats themselves, I found the way of setting the parade routes up really easy, and yeah, it's going to be something fun that I can get my teeth into at some point. But in terms of the all-roundedness of the pack, it is fantastic. Yeah, a really great pack from Frontier. So as you can see, I have begun working up this waterfront area, and this is going to be called Port Wonder. I think I said that in the last episode, and we'll go through that shortly. And yeah, the other area I've been focusing on is the Merkwood area, expanding that slightly. As you might remember from the previous episode, I had a few issues with visitor flow, bottlenecks with the crowds going along this path here. So yeah, I am looking into ways of opening this up, trying to create more vistas across the land. But I do kind of like the positioning of these two rides, and so yeah, it's been a case of just seeing how I can tweak this and refine it and make it a little bit less crazy down here. So the front of the park, there's not really been any changes from what I shared last week. What I do want to do is come back and look at this entire area in the future. Now that I have kind of figured out where the car park's going and the exit road, I do feel that this area is a little bit neglected compared to how much I've finished this main entrance gate out. So yeah, the plan is to come back and do a bit more detail in here, work out the fields and all the fencing, and yeah, just make it feel a little bit more polished. The car park has been extended, but I need to do it further. Obviously, this park and this kind of size, this is not realistic, so I need to figure out how this is going to be extended further. But yeah, I have begun work on that. There's not really been any changes to the courtyard building either. I've done a few tweaks, things I noticed, but yeah, not really any more work done in this area, and that is because I have been focusing all my time and energy in this new waterfront area, which is going to be called Port Wonder. As you can see, I have mapped in the parade route right along the waterfront, and it will lead basically from one back of house building to another, and they're going to be in keeping with the main street kind of vibe that we're going for. And yeah, as you can see, I've put in this first section of Main Street, and I'm really kind of happy with how it's come together. I have definitely done a lot of trial and error down here, lots of different building types and little building experiments and seeing what kind of works. But this is what I mean about the versatility of that, of the new DLC. This is the majority of this is coming from the Parades pack, and being able to achieve exactly what Disney does with the different architectural styles it kind of shows how much variation and versatility you can get with the Parades pack content. So the plan at the minute is I'm going to put all the buildings in. I'm going to put buildings in down this side as well, and then I'm going to go back down and figure out actually where I put functional shops, restaurants, food points, bathrooms, things like that. I'm gonna figure all that out once I've actually put all the buildings in. But yeah, in terms of a kind of a footprint, it's just going to be this area. I don't think I'm going to put any attractions in. I did have the Ferris wheel over here, but I think actually it's nicer to kind of have it just as a main street, and have views across the lake. In particular, I keep coming back down here and like checking the sight lines and things we get right from the entrance. So yeah, I'm kind of enjoying this vibe as you come out from under the bridge across the lake towards the main house, and this kind of town square that you're in immediately. I think it's it's got a cool vibe about it. I have put this refreshments kiosk in this. I'd kind of already plotted this in the first episode, but yeah, as I say, all the other like restaurants and shops and things I'm gonna figure out once all the buildings are in. I've used the new barbershop animatronics here in this kind of little bandstand thing. Obviously, with it being a UK theme park and we cannot be trusted as members of the public, I have put these railings around it, and added this trigger point here. I mean, in reality, this will probably be in a full cage because the British public are animals. So yeah, in terms of the back of house buildings for the parade, I've done this kind of depot building at one end. I'm not sure what the other one is going to be at the far end where the parade starts. I'm thinking like maybe some kind of market building. I am conscious it's looking very kind of Disney-esque at the minute, but I'm working with what I've been given with. So yeah, this kind of shows you what I'm thinking for the parade backstage. Kind of a bit of a nondescript depot building that's in keeping with the Main Street theme, using all the cargo and crate props to kind of block the view inside. But I just want to give it still that kind of feeling that it's in keeping with the Main Street when it's viewed from a distance. Yeah, that's the plan anyway. So yeah, it is taking quite a bit of time to build these. Obviously, the amount of detailing that is traditional in these Main Street buildings it's pretty intense. So it is taking me a little bit longer than I anticipated to build these. But as I say, I am loving this pack. Absolute elite pack from Frontier, and a great addition to the game, especially for building scenic elements like this. It's fantastic. So leading out of Port Wonder, I have kept I've kept this path that I said in the last episode. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with that. I have kept it. I think it's going to be really useful as it leads under and doubles back over here. So I've kept that in and just rethemed it to the Main Street small town set. Got a little bit more landscaping things to do in terms of retaining walls down here, a bit more planting. But yeah, that should tie all that in. I am adding a little bit of fencing in here just because the station now overlooks the backstage area for the parades, so I wanted to sort that out. And in terms of the train itself, I have just extended the station slightly. Someone quite rightly pointed out that the number of carriages, was too small for a park of this capacity, and they were absolutely right. Something I'd completely overlooked. So I've just extended the platform. I've kept the queue line covered element exactly the same. Just extended the platform to get some more carriages in there, and that's all good. As I say, this is the path that I've decided to keep in. It just allows people to kind of do this figure of 8 scenario in terms of accessing the waterfront and the Port Wonder area. I have added in a proper bridge now. This was just a path in episode 1, so that's now got something more about it. I just wanted a bit of a nondescript traditional bridge here, so it kind of juxtaposes with the Viking theme as you enter into Myrkwood. So yeah, this is a little bit more worked up and a little bit more elaborate than last time. And then moving through, I am going to have some kind of restaurant, or I don't know, some kind of facilities building here with plenty of outdoor seating. I'm probably going to have a go at building a play area, some kind of playground element here. Yeah, I want to be this to be kind of like the hub as you enter the land. I am mindful that I want to try keep some of these sight lines, so I don't want a super tall building. I'm gonna have to have a think about how I do this. But opening up the paths, adding this extra plaza in, and then adding a second path here has definitely helped with the crowds. So I'm happy that's kind of solved that problem. And then yeah, we've now got a name. This is just going to be Axe Swing for the gyro swing. Added in some of the realism bits, so the warning signs and the height indicators for the ride limits. Same over here. But yeah, other than that, it's just been a case of adding a few more little details in, like these lampposts, and then just making the pass work. So yeah, the next big update for this area is going to be definitely figuring out what goes here in this plaza. I do kind of want to add a third ride here, but I'm not sure what that's going to be. I'm kind of inclined to start looking at other lands in this area, and then maybe come back and decide on that third ride as a late stage. But yeah, as I said, this kind of plaza will be the next big update. So that gives you a good overview of what I've done in this last week. I have got a bit of time today actually where I can jump back into the game, so I'm going to do just that, and I will give you another update in a second. Right guys, I'm not going to lie, that went from me having a bit of spare time to actually spending a fair few days tinkering with this park, and as always, I've got a bit carried away and I've been swapping bits around, seeing what works best. But yeah, I think it is at a good place to kind of show you how things are looking right now. So first things first, if we come down to Port Wonder, as you can see, I've made some changes down here. and actually swap some of the buildings around. So I started building a new kind of town hall building, and actually I was building it over here. But as it kind of progressed, I realized it wasn't looking right, and I felt that actually it needed to be over here by the by this kind of town square area. So yeah, what I've done is I've swapped a few buildings over and then created this space for the town hall building to go in. And then yeah, some of the buildings that I showed you in part 1, they have been moved over to the waterfront down here. So obviously I've got some more kind of detailing work to do on this town hall building. Obviously it's very Disney City Hall inspired in terms of its architecture and its design. I did wonder whether we should build kind of like an open arcade area under here that's in keeping with like the Victorian style. But at the minute we've just got some service buildings, some restrooms down here, and that's just while I figure out the rest of the area and kind of what goes where. And then down this side of the port, these are the buildings that I swapped over, and I've adjusted some of the colours and some of the details to make it all look a bit more kind of considered. I've also increased the height of this particular building, and that's because it looked super odd on this side, because what I've done is, as I've built this additional row of buildings here, I've kind of been working to a more consistent height. So yeah, that needed adjusting to match. And again, it's all very Main Street Disney inspired, but now what I'm doing is I'm actually going back through them and kind of tweaking them and making it work for kind of my vision for what I'm thinking for this area. And then what I've done is I've added, you can see here, I've added kind of this angle in to some of these buildings. That's kind of just to try avoid it all being really parallel to the street, and to add a bit of kind of visual interest. So I think, you know, as you are kind of walking down, as you're kind of walking down here, I think that kind of works it, kind of stops it looking really fake, I guess. And then yeah, like I said in the last part of the video, the idea is to get all these structures in place and locked down in terms of the layout and the facade details. So as you can see, I've started doing some of them, others I need to kind of finish off. But yeah, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to go back down and figure out where I want kind of functional facilities and restaurants and things like that to go. So as you can see, I've added some already in kind of where I think they're going to be best placed. I've got one over here in this new building over here too. But yeah, I want to get the majority of the kind of design and footprint of all these buildings done, and then I'm going to go back down and add all the other bits back in. And then up here, because this is a bit of an awkward space up here. Obviously this is the start of the parade, so we've got this huge building here. What I'm thinking here is it's going to be obviously some kind of like dock warehouse, maybe like I don't know, like a seafood market with like piers and things coming off it. I'm not really committed to an idea yet for this, but it's roughly this size, I had already put in this service road leading from like the perimeter of the park down to this area just for logistics, kind of deliveries, emergency vehicles, that sort of thing. So I've allowed for that already. I need to kind of tidy all this up. There's probably going to be some kind of vehicle access here, so I might need to slide all this back. But yeah, at the minute, what this kind of gives us is it has given me this little walkway here. It's allowed me to get a path back up here, and that's going to link both areas. So again, I've got an awful feeling that once the visitor numbers grow in this, we're going to see a lot of collision going on down here. So I might have to come back and tweak this in the future. But functionally, it's kind of all there. It just needs just tidying up. And what I'm thinking is it's going to kind of be very Disney Sea, American waterfront coded. So a lot more industrial down this area, a lot more brickwork, and then some kind of overhead railroad bridge. As you can see, I've started the landscaping here. So I've started putting in some retaining walls and planting. I've got this billboard here. I've got an idea of some artwork that I want to create for that that's in keeping too. So yeah, I think once this is done, where you've got the train coming over here and this is kind of filled in, this is all finished, I think this is going to look cool down this end. Yeah, I just need to kind of crack on and actually do it. Around the back here, I've just started figuring out all the backyard area. So this is all going to be kind of simplified. You know, what I want to do is really just keep what I need to in terms of sight lines, and then everything else beyond that point will be it'll be, you know, structural sports, truss work and things like that, and yeah, this kind of backyard area. So yeah, what I keep doing is I keep coming back over here to this path and down here to the entrance, and kind of actually looking up and seeing what's visible, because a lot of this will be covered by trees, but I do want to create some areas where you can see certain elements. I think that's really cool. But yeah, like I say, it'll only be the visible areas that are kind of detailed and decorated, and everything else will be kind of plain below a certain level. And then yeah, other little updates I've done, I've added in fencing all along the waterfront, and then I've added these kind of little vista points. Look at these doing selfies. Yeah, these are kind of based on where I think in the future there's going to be some cool sight lines across the park. But again, more than anything, I think they had a bit of visual interest to this whole area. You know, it looks quite dull just being a consistent fence line all the way along. So yeah, I've added one of these here and another one down here. So again, from this point in the future, you'll be able to kind of look over these kind of areas and over towards the house. And then yeah, as you've just seen, I've added a proper bridging now, linking over the island towards the house. So yeah, just a bit more detail and work to do on that, and some planting on this island. Again, I don't want to do anything crazy because I really like the sight lines you're getting from over here, so I don't want anything that's going to really obstruct that view there. And then yeah, it's just been a case of starting to put some detailing in, some rock work. Like I said, this kind of more port area is going to get more detailing and theming, and yeah, I need to come back and do a lot more of that. But on the whole, I am feeling that the progress on this area is going really well, and it's slowly matching what I imagined when I began scoping this area out. I think with a bit more theming and clutter, I think it's going to look pretty neat. And I've already got a feeling that this area is going to be one part of the park that I come back to and tweak or add to over time. You know, as I kind of get new ideas or I see an image that inspires me. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of work in progress for a while to come yet. Over in Myrkwood, I've dialed up some of the theming. I've made a few more tweaks here and there, but the majority of the work has been on this plaza area when you first enter the land. And yeah, this is what I'm thinking at the minute. So I've got this building here. It's not kind of finished by any means, but it's got a few facilities as well as a coffee shop. And then I'm thinking these vending machines look good under here. It's kind of what you'd see at UK parks. Yeah, I think that kind of works there. So as I said, this building is by no means complete, but I think in terms of scale and its footprint, I think it's going to be here, so it, you know, it doesn't interrupt the sight lines over to Forest Raiders. And I like that it's kind of tucked into the trees. I think that's kind of what I had in mind when I was saying in the last update for this kind of area. And then what I've done is obviously seating out here, and then this is my crude attempt at doing a children's playground. So this is kind of something that I've always thought about but never really got around to in Planet Coaster 2. And it's really interesting looking into reference images for this sort of thing, because in terms of theme parks, it's really varying in terms of budget and scale and theming. So some parks will literally just have off-the-shelf playground equipment, and then the fencing around it might be in the same colour scheme of the rest of the land that it's sat in. And then some parks really go to town on this kind of stuff. So Paulson's is a great example in their Valgard expansion. They've really committed to the Viking theme and built something that's incredible for kind of younger guests. So it's just as detailed and as themed as the rest of the land. So my kind of take is somewhere in between. So we've got, you know, some basic kind of equipment, but touches of theme in. So yeah, we've got this kind of longship sand pit element here. Obviously a seesaw and a slide, kind of based on it coming down from a lookout tower. And then I've also added this tunneling because I don't know about other people from the UK, but I remember as a kid going to playgrounds like this where they'd literally have a metal tube in the ground, and it was the best thing you'd ever seen. Like, you'd just go back and forth like climbing through this, and they're always super uncomfortable, but weirdly kids love them. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool doing that. So yeah, I think what I want to do is I kind of want to replicate this idea of each land having a little playground for younger guests, and obviously each one will be themed to the different lands. But I think yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool, because I actually thought this would be quite tedious building this, knowing that visitors won't actually physically interact with it. But I actually really enjoyed building this. So yeah, I think this is something I want to do in the other lands. And then finally, I have begun drafting out the other lands and kind of working out the location of the stations for the railroad. So obviously this is the one here that's the that we'd already built. I'm thinking one down here that's going to service kind of these areas, another one on the top right of the park. There's one already built for the main house, and then another one over here for for these two lands. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. At the minute, I've got 4 additional lands kind of planned out. I've kind of decided on themes and some names for these lands, and these have kind of been driven by ideas I've got for particular rides and coasters. But yeah, I'm gonna go through some of those ideas in the next video. But yeah, as you can see, Wonder Valley is at a great place at the end of episode 2, and work on episode 3 is getting underway this weekend, as we're beginning work on the next land. As more than anything, I'm really conscious that this has been a theming heavy episode, and I really want to get back to building some new rides. As I said at the start of the episode, your feedback is really appreciated, and I want your suggestions to be part of this part's future. So please drop me a comment if there's something you want to see in Wonder Valley. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. But in the meantime, please take care, and I hope to see you all for episode 3.